Hey everybody, this is Jacob from Roboflow. I've got Brad with me here today from Roboflow to talk about annotation formats. So Brad, why don't you start us off and just talk about what is annotation in computer vision and what are annotation formats?
Sure. So in computer vision, you have a bunch of different problem types that you might be trying to solve. You could go from classification, where you're just trying to apply a single label to a whole image, all the way up to segmentation, where you're trying to define what each individual pixel in an image is. In the middle, you've got this problem called object detection, which is finding individual objects. And it's kind of like the most universal application of computer vision that I've seen. It applies across all sorts of different domains. And the gist is you're going to put a box around the objects. And so an annotation is how you tell your machine learning model kind of the answer key of where the objects in the photo are. So you can imagine you have a picture full of puppies. Each puppy has a box around it. This is actually a misconception that I've seen from some people. Oftentimes you'll see this visualized as the image with a colored box over the top of the objects. Actually, you want to make sure to keep those separate. So if you actually fed that version, the version that we're looking at as humans in your machine learning model, what you'd really be training is a box detector to find the outlines of the things. That's the answer key. You want to keep that separate. And the way that you store that is in a file on disk called the annotation, and those come in a bunch of different formats.
I see. So what's the exact reason why you need the annotations again? Is that what's the end goal with them?
It defines the X and Y position and the size of the objects. And so then you can use that to train a machine learning model to on images that don't have annotations to make predictions of where those things are. And so it's kind of how you score how well the model is doing, and then prod it in the right direction so that those predictions get better and better over time as you continue to train.
I see. So initially you're drawing them on your own, and then afterwards the computer takes the wheel and will be able to draw them by itself.
Exactly. And there's actually kind of a hybrid model too. Once you have a model trained that's pretty good, you can use that to help you draw new boxes that you're going to use as new training data.
Wow.
And so you're just kind of correcting the model versus drawing the annotations from scratch.
That's awesome. So I'm just curious, how many different versions of these annotation formats for boxes have you seen, and why you might think there are as many as you've seen?
Yeah. So I just counted on Roboflow. We actually support almost 36 different formats, and those range all the way from a simple text file with one box per line, where all of your images are in one file. You have versions that are similar, except for each image has one text file to go along with it. You have JSON formats. You have some that are even like binary encoded, where the image and the annotation are combined together onto disk into that one's called TF record. You've got XML files. It just kind of spans the gamut. And I think computer vision has been developing so rapidly that there just hasn't become kind of any standardization. There's a couple of formats that are more common than others, but usually the people who are creating the models are more focused on actually training and doing machine learning versus kind of the infrastructure and pipeline before that. And so they just do whatever is convenient for them and end up inventing a new format and creating this sort of fragmentation. So it kind of turns out that most of the different object detection models that you'll use kind of just arbitrarily pick a format that they're most comfortable with, or that their data came in, and they just kind of assume that anybody who wants to use their model is going to do the conversion process to make their data into the right format.
Sure. So I guess at the end of the day, the annotation could be the same, but it's represented in a different format. But why is this a problem? And let's say I just show up and I want to try out multiple models. Why can't I just kind of use the same thing?
Yeah, totally.
What's the problem?
So it's kind of, you can think of it kind of like, the difference between like a .txt file, a PDF, and a Microsoft Word .docx file. And they might all contain the same contents, but the same program can't read all those different formats. You might have to convert them between each other to make them compatible. And you have the same sort of thing with machine learning models. Each model will accept data in a certain format, and if your data is in a different format, they're not going to work well together. So you'll have to write a converter to kind of like go through and convert all that stuff. And this wouldn't seem like a huge problem, right? It might take you an hour or a couple hours to do it, but it's actually kind of a common source of errors. You have all these sorts of edge cases of like having to convert. Some of them define the XY as the top left pixel in the box. Some define it as the center. Some of their coordinate systems are reversed from each other. Some of them start at zero-based indexing with the pixels. Some start at 1, and so you can end up with off by 1 errors that end up blowing up your model if your annotation ends up being outside of the bounds of the image. So there's just all these different edge cases that are kind of cognitive overhead. And to do it one time might not be a problem, but if you want to test 5 different models and see which one performs best on your data, what you end up doing is spending all of your time kind of wrangling the formats, and you end up with your data in all these different sorts of annotation formats and different folders, and it just quickly kind of spider webs into something that's super complex where it shouldn't be.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like kind of like a major problem. And I guess at least from my experience with training machine learning models is like you already kind of don't know exactly how well it's going to do before you get into it, and making sure you have the format and the exact right way probably sounds like something you would want before you show up to actually try it out.
Yeah, totally. You want to make sure that if one model is performing better, that it's not just because like your other ones had a bug in them in the data format,
and then make the wrong call or the wrong judgment about.
Right. Yeah, machine learning is a bit different from normal programming where it's not like if you have an error, oftentimes things are gonna the compiler is gonna tell you. Oftentimes your model just like performs slightly worse, and you just never know until months later, and you find this bug, and it turns out that like the model could have been better all this time. And so as much as you can standardize the rest of the process so that when you're doing different tests and experiments, you're only changing one variable. That's a smart thing to do.
Definitely. So let's say I've got a annotation format. Let's say I'm in YOLO darknet, and I want to go over and I want to try out a new model. Let's say like Google Train. I want to get into a TF record, or let's just say I want to convert among any of these myriad formats that you've mentioned. Do you have any advice for going about doing that, or how might I actually do that reliably?
So I think the kind of the default solution that people do right now is either kind of dive into the specifications of the formats and write a Python script to convert themselves from whatever format they have to whatever format they need. But the better way to do that is to use Roboflow. So we actually support almost 3 dozen formats for import and export. And you just drop in your files in one format, select the one that you want on the other side. We're kind of a universal converter for all of these different formats.
Okay, that's really nice to know and good to take note of when you're trying to move throughout these different frameworks. So I guess kind of a fun question here. What's your favorite format first off, and what's your least favorite and why? What do you think makes a good annotation format?
Yeah, favorites is a hard one because there's a couple that are pretty good. I think Voc XML and Cocoa JSON come to mind. They're kind of like different paradigms. One, the Cocoa format contains kind of all of your annotations for all of your images in one file, which can be either good or bad. The Voc XML is different, where you have one XML file per image, but they're both pretty well specified. Like there's not a lot of ambiguity around them. They're pretty widely supported and all that. So I think those are 2 examples of pretty good formats that I'd be happy to see more data sets coming in. Worst or least favorite annotation format. I know you probably working next to me have heard me swearing about like what the heck is this new format that's come across. This is like the new worst format. There's a couple that come to mind, and I don't want to call anybody out, but I do have one that is particularly bad, and that was the Marmot format. And that was, as far as I know, this is a format that was only used by one research team on a paper in, I think, like 2014 from a Chinese university. that was doing document processing, and it is just like so convoluted and backwards, and like, you know, the coordinate system is reversed. Like all of the checkboxes of things that are like annoying to have to deal with, it has them all.
Yeah.
And then I would give a close runner up to Amazon's manifest format. That one, man, all the things that you should never do in a JSON based format, including making it malformed JSON that is not readable by JSON parsers, and having like no specification or documentation, and like changing keys that you have to infer from other fields. It's just
there's also
random
great fields in there that are relevant to the annotation, right?
Totally, yeah. I mean, it took us a long time and a lot of trial and error to get that one working, and I would be very surprised if there are many teams that get their data labeled in Amazon Ground Truth and are able to use it outside of the Amazon ecosystem without the help of the Roboflow converter.
It's almost like they don't want you to export their data elsewhere, right? Well, I guess the two important things to note about both Marmot and the SageMaker annotations, they're both supported by Roboflow, right? So if you can load your other data into Roboflow, you can also load these ones. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, we're always striving to support all of these different formats. We want to be the universal converter. So if there's a format that our viewers come like find or invent, please don't invent one if you're thinking about it. But if you happen to have a data set that you found that, you know, you can't deal with, we're always happy to add support for those different formats, and usually can do that really, really quickly.
Yeah, certainly. I guess I got one more last question before we wrap up for the day. So let's say I don't have any annotations yet, and I want to go about creating them. How might I do that? And then how would I get to the destination that I want to get to?
Yeah.
To train a model?
So you would use what's called an annotation tool, which lets you draw these bounding boxes and then export them in a format that you could use with your model. Most of the annotation tools that I've seen have 2 or 3 formats that they can export to, which is great if those match up with what your models you want to try are. Afterwards, we can consume those and help you convert those. So if you have a tool that you really like, you can use that to do your annotations and then feed them into Roboflow, and we help those tools work with every sort of model. Or Roboflow actually has our own annotation tool built right in, where you can just drop in images without annotations, and we can help you draw your boxes and even help you use your existing models or your trained models or public models to help jumpstart that annotation format. So yeah, we'd be happy to have more people using the Roboflow annotation tool. And like I said, you know, Roboflow can export to any one of these different formats, and so you're really kind of setting yourself up to be able to experiment with whatever models you want.
Yeah, well, that sounds pretty sweet. Well, everyone, thanks for joining us today. That's all we have today for our discussion on annotations. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe below, and see us in future videos, and we'll see y'all next time.